Okay, so today I'm going to go through the Pirate Speak program. What we're going to do is have the user enter in some text, and it will take whatever their English text is and translate it to Pirate. Just, kind of a fun way of doing this. Download the CSV file, and then this is the main. This is all stuff you know in main, so I thought, why go through that together? You just download that, and we'll just do the new stuff. And the new stuff is we're going to have the program search through the file for the words in order to make this translation. So go ahead and download that. The first one is a CSV file. A CSV file, if you look at this, here I have my pirate.csv file downloaded. If you have Excel on your computer, by default it will open up in Excel. And what it will do is it will put each word in its own little column. Well, a CSV file is actually not an Excel file. Let's show you what it actually looks like if I could find where I downloaded that. I swear I had this open. There it is. Okay, so here's my CSV file. I'm just going to right click on this and edit with Notepad, because I wanted to show you that it's just a text file and it's separated by commas. So if you had additional words here, you could put additional words across and it would all be in different sections of that Excel file. In this case, I've got only 2 words because I've only got using 2 columns. And the last one doesn't have to have a comma. I can't remember if it has to. Sometimes I've seen it with an extra comma there, sometimes I've seen it without. But in our case, we don't necessarily need to, because we're just going to read to the comma and then read to the end line. And then we'll read to a comma and then read to an end line. And so that's what our program is going to do. And if you'll notice on this file, we've got the English word in the first column and then the pirate translation in the second. So hello means ahoy in pirate. If you were to say yes, that means oi, and friend is matey, that sort of thing. So that's how we're going to work this program. I've already got this set up, so follow along with me as we create our Pirate Translator. So first thing we're going to need is we want to be able to translate a single word. Translate. And all that's going to do is take in a string parameter of English and return back a string parameter of what the equivalent is in Pirate. Then we're going to be able to translate an entire sentence. And that will take a string parameter as well. It will take the entire sentence and return back the entire sentence in Pirate. Last, we want to be able to allow the user to add to the file. So I'm going to say void add to file. That way, if they have any additional words that they want to add to the dictionary, they can. It's just going to take a parameter of the English version and the Pirate version. Okay, so let's start with translate word. This is where the bulk of the logic lies, or the new logic, I should say. Void pirate. There's my translate word, and it's going to take a parameter of my word. Okay, very first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the file. So I'm going to use my variable ifstream to open up the file, and I always like to call mine fin for file in, and this ifstream is in the fstream library. Okay, a couple things we want to keep in mind. We want to put in what the file is. Mine is pirate.csv, and I want to open this up to read in. There we go. Now, assuming that pirate.csv is not in the same directory as your exe file, you could put in the path. So, for example, if it's not working and it can't find this particular file, I can go to the properties and I can copy the path to get to this. There's my path right there. And I could paste that in. I don't have to because mine's in the same directory. I have to add an extra parenthesis there. Now keep in mind, this character is used for an escape sequence. So if you are going to do a path, make sure you go back in and put double slashes on each of these. Since my pirate.csv is in the immediate directory of my project, I don't have to put that information. This will be just a local link to the file. Okay, every time you open a file, you want to close it. So I'm going to say fn.close right here, but before I close it, I will probably do some reading right in the middle of this. All right, so next we need a variable for the English and then the pirate. So string English pirate. And then I want to iterate through my file. So I'm going to say, well, my file is called fin.eof. This means, is it the end of the file? And in our case, so long as it is not the end of the file, so I'm going to put an exclamation here, I want to keep going through this loop. There we go. So long as it's not the end of the file, go through the loop. Now, since we're not reading the file, this would actually be a continuous loop right now, so don't run it at this point. Okay, at this point, you could say fn English and fn pirate. And then that would read in, because it's just like a cin statement, only it's with an fn. The problem is since this is a CSV file, I want it to ignore that comma. This works if there were no commas and I was just reading up to a space or to an end-line character, so anytime you have where you want to return multiple, like if you're doing a cin statement and you want to get a whole sentence instead of one word, you can use the getLine function. So that's what I want to use here as well, because I want it to read up to a comma on this first one. So I'm going to do a comma here. It's going to say the English, and I'm going to specify that I want it to read up to a comma. Same thing. This one you could probably leave like that because it's reading to an end line anyway, but just in case, I'm going to have this read up to the end line character. So there it is. This also works with a cin statement, by the way, and I think I've given you an example of that cin statement in main because I wanted you to be able to see that. So here, enter in a sentence, enter in your words. This is using a get line, and it's reading in everything. It's reading in white spaces, everything until the end of the line. All right, so this is no semicolon there. We're going to do a comma, and we're reading up to an end line character. There we go. Okay, now all we have to do is see if the English word is the one we're looking for. If English equals my word, then that means I want to return at that point. But before I can return, if I return right here, it's never going to close the file. So I want to close the file first and then return the pirate, P-I-R-A-T-E, version of whatever this English word is. So this should now work. Now what if that English word doesn't exist in that file? I mean, that dictionary only has like 50 words in it. If that's the case, there are a few words that don't translate. We'll just return back the word, and that will do it. Okay, so we're opening the file. We'll keep reading through the file until we get to the end of it. We're using a get line to either go to a character or an end space, this one, and then returning back our English equivalent. Let's do the next one. I think I can do this all in one video. So I'm going to do this translate sentence. And this one is a good one because it will show you how to parse strings, which I'm not sure if we've actually done in this class yet. So pirate, and that is a good skill to have. So this is taking our entire, whatever the input is as a sentence. And in order to parse strings, the easiest way to do that is to use a string stream. And if you remember, a string stream we've used to concatenate strings and numbers together. Well, we can also use it to parse our sentence out into words. So I'm going to call this, I don't know, this is going to be my sentence reader, and I'm going to give it the input that I was given. Okay, now I also want to concatenate out my output. So I'm going to use, actually, you know, we could just do this as string. I bet we could. This is our translation. I'll just call this pirate sentence. S-E-N-T-E-N-C. Start that as nothing, and we'll just keep adding on to our pirate sentence. I think this should still work. Okay, so here's how a string stream can be used to parse sentences. I'm going to say, well, my sent reader dot good, meaning so long as I have a good input and there's more information to process in this sentence, it will keep iterating through this loop. Next thing I want to do is I want to use that same getLine command to read up to any particular white space. So I'm going to just have a temp variable, and in that I'll say getLine sent reader, that's my parser, and then I'm going to give it my temp variable, and I want it to read up to a space. There we go. That's it. So this is going to be one word at a time in this sentence right here. That's my parser. Next thing I'm going to do is all I have to do is add on to my pirate sentence. I'm going to say pirate sentence plus equals, and I want to translate the word, so I can call my translate word up here. Translate word, and I'm going to give it whatever my temp variable is. There we go. And then after the word, I want to put a space. So plus a space. There we go. So that's now translating every word in from pirate to English and then adding a space after it. Okay, last thing I want to do is return my pirate sentence, and I'm done. Okay, so now we've read from the file and we've been able to parse our string. Last thing we're going to do is write to the file, and this one's going to be probably the easiest one there is. So I'm going to go grab my add to file. There's my void. Don't forget to put in your scope resolution operator. And this is going to take in my English and my pirate. Okay, so very first thing is I want to open the file for output. And I always call mine F out for file out. You'll see different things. Once again, you want to keep if you have to put the path name in, you're welcome to. If it's in the immediate directory, you do not have to. But this time, I'm writing it out to the file. But I don't necessarily just want to write it out to the file, because that will delete all my file. So instead, I'm going to specify to append to the file. And that way, it won't write everything, it will just put this last. And once again, every time you open a file to use, you want to make sure you close the file so we don't have any memory issues. Okay, one more line of code and we're done. Our file is called fout, and I can do this just like a cout statement, which is why I name it fout, so it looks like cout, only it's to a file instead of to the console. So the very first thing I want to do is I'm going to bring my file back so you can see here. If you have any extra lines in this file, it will give an issue. So right now our cursor is right here at the end. So first I want to do an end-line character, and then I want to write my two words, and I don't want any end-line characters at the end, otherwise when it's reading the file it will read to that empty line and try and read in the information and crash. So here I'm just going to write out an end-line character. I'm going to write out the English. Then I want to write out a comma, and then I want to write out the pirate. There we go. That's it. This should now work. Let's just compile this, make sure I don't have any issues, and we will call it good for the day. There it is. Okay, what do I want to do? I want to translate into your words. Hi there, friend. Incidentally, I did not make this case sensitive, so make all of your sentences lowercase. And it translates this. Yo ho ho thar, matey. There you go. We can add to our dictionary. All right. Give me an English word and a pirate translation. I don't know. How about what's something a pirate would say? I can't even think of anything. Let's say computer. And the pirate translation is fangled machine. I don't know. There we go. So now if we go to translate again, enter your words. The computer is broken. And it should say, oh dang it, it did not. Let's go see why it didn't. I'm going to put that in the next video. How's that?